Hello, and welcome to Speak Honest. I am your host and certified relationship coach, Jennifer Noble. It has been my passion for over a decade to help women like you heal what's been holding you back from having the relationships you deserve. Are you struggling with a relationship where you can't seem to voice your emotions, needs, and boundaries without having it blow up in your face? Then you have found the right podcast, my friend. Get ready for practical tips, empowering truths, and honest conversations. Now, let's dive in. Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Speak Honest. I'm Jen Noble, the relationship coach and owner at Speak Honest, and I cannot wait to dive in with you on today's topic. I want to talk about what it's like to get frustrated with the people around you when you don't know what's going on and you feel the need to be able to understand what the hell is going on. But before we dive into that, let's get a couple of the logistics out of the way. First and foremost, I want you to be signing up for our free Facebook group. I want you to head in there and ask me any questions you have. It's a great community filled with women like you that are struggling in their relationships. You can ask me questions. You can ask your fellow women questions. You can ask anything you need in that group. It's for you. Right now, honestly, it's a little slow. It's just getting started. You get to be at the ground floor of Speak Honest and help build my growing coaching business. And it would mean the world to me if you helped me along with this. It really would. So please, if you're looking for relationship advice, for any sort of help, now is the perfect time to get started with Speak Honest. In addition to the free Facebook group, I also recently got a Patreon. I'm so excited for this because I know a lot of you out there were asking, Jen, you do so much. How can we buy you a cup of coffee? What can we do for you? And I just want to say thank you so much. You're all beyond freaking amazing. And so I started a Patreon. That is also the best way that you can get in with my one-on-one coaching right now. I decided with the way that my schedule is going with my son and all of his play rehearsals and my school schedule and my work schedule, the best way that I could do this is to work one-on-one with a client and know that they're making a commitment to at least 2 to 3 months. And then we can work together to find a time that works for the both of us. So we know it's on both our schedule and we know what we are getting into. The best way to do that right now is through my Patreon. You can become a member of my Patreon. I have 2 different levels of tiers that you can choose between for my coaching. You get 1 coaching call a month if that's what you need, or you can have 4 coaching calls a month. Completely up to you. Just go to patreon.com/speakhonest. You can check everything out. Or as always, you can go ahead and schedule in a discovery call with me to get to know how we're going to do. Do you even want to be coached by me? Or maybe you're looking for someone else, in which case I would love to help you find that coach. I am a part of a community with dozens of certified coaches, and my goal here is to make sure you are getting the help you need, okay? I just want to really make sure that's clear with all of this. I want to help you get the coaching, get the therapy, get the groups, get the questions answered, anything that you need. Now, do we all have to be putting food on our tables and feeding our teenagers that literally eat an entire refrigerator of food every day? Yeah, unfortunately, that does come with the cost of all of this. If I could do this for free forever, I would. But unfortunately, that teenager over there is a hippo and he will not stop eating. And so, hence the Patreon. So I highly say thank you so much for supporting me, my family, and my growing teenager. And honestly, for just supporting any other coaches out there, whether you have a business coach or an executive coach, a life coach, a relationship coach like myself, or even like a spiritual healing coach. These people are out there to help you. That is what their goal is. Are there some people out there that are scamming and just wanting to make a quick buck? Absolutely. You're going to find that anywhere. So if you ever have any questions about a coach or anyone you want to work with, you can even come and ask me that. I love helping people find their coaches and their therapists. It's one of my passions. Okay, I think I've talked enough about all of that. So let's dive into the episode at hand. Our frustrations. So lately in my life, I just have been feeling frustrated. People keep telling me that, hey, let's get together and do this. Let's get together and do this. Can you come and help me with this? Can you do this thing for me? and then I show up and they're not there. Like, what the actual fuck, right? Why is it that we are giving our time and energy to people and then they are not reciprocating that? And they're not even saying, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't show up, I just completely forgot. What? I mean, you can hear the frustration in my voice, right? That's why I want to keep it real with you here, because I might be a relationship coach, a life coach, a communications coach. I might know what to say, but that doesn't mean that inside I still get so annoyed with people when they waste my time. So that's why I wanted to really dive into this. This could happen in a romantic relationship. This could happen in a business relationship or with our friends, our best friends, our acquaintances. I would say maybe not so much our children, because I think that's a different ballgame. So I'll leave that for maybe a different podcast. But for everyone else in our lives that this is happening to us, we need to be able to speak up. That is our job as humans, is to learn how to keep that connection together and how to communicate that to someone, because they don't know that they upset us. They don't necessarily know that what they did was wrong, or maybe they do, and the shame that it brought upon them, they just want to push it away and they don't want to have to think about it. So when I show up to an event and I tell someone I'll be there for them and they're not even there, yeah, I'm pissed. But also they have their own shit going on. So I can also look at it from their angle and realize, wow, if they did that and they didn't even think to tell me, what did they have going on? So there's two ways I like to handle this. I either like to communicate right then and there in the moment where I'm able to be regulated and calm and I could say something. So for example, this is what I did recently. There was someone who asked me to come and help them out with a class. And I thought, yeah, sure, I'm going to do that. That's great. I get there, they're not there, I'm pissed. So I write them an email and I say, hey, I noticed that our communication was off for this. In the future, I would really like us to communicate our details a little bit more to make sure that we're both on the same page. Can you see how I communicated there? I didn't blame them. I didn't say, how dare you do this? There was nothing there. There was just, oh shit, something happened. Because I'm just as much to blame about this as they are. I didn't follow up earlier. I didn't check in with what the address was. I didn't even double check if this is still going on. Now, in my mind, should they have done that? Yeah, absolutely. And maybe I can stick with people who will do that for me. But when we're trying to communicate with people, we want to ask ourselves, do we want to be right? Or do we want to stay connected? And this is an important person in my life. So I don't want to sit there and blame them and have all of this stuff happen. I want to be able to still connect. Now, here's the interesting side. You can be honest. You can say these things from a non-blameful space that you can say to them, hey, I'm really upset here right now. And that's why this makes me feel really frustrated. And I would like for us not to do this. What can we do in the future? That doesn't mean the other person is still going to take that well. To be honest, I don't know if this other person took what I said to them very well, because they kind of came back a little snappy. And I was like, whoa. But you know what? They have every right to be snappy. They have a lot of shit going on in their life right now. And what they heard was someone else in their life was disappointed with them. Great. Just like everyone else, everyone's disappointed with me, blah, blah, blah. I'm sure that's what this person was thinking. And yeah, maybe I was a little disappointed with them. And that's okay. And maybe they're upset by that. And that's also okay. But the best thing that happened here was that when we ruptured, we were able to repair. And that meant that our relationship was building resilience. Do you see how that works? We need to rupture in our relationships, and then we need to repair them in order to build that resilience. That resilience in relationships is what is needed for the long-term connection that we're all looking for. Now, I want to talk about the other way that I could have handled this. And looking back, knowing what I know now, I actually think I would have done it this way, not the first way. I really wanted to say something in the first place. So I said, hey, here's a thing I want to say, and here's my feelings. And then it did backfire on me a little bit, and they got a little bit upset, and it didn't go the best way. Still absolutely okay what I did. My intention was good. My thoughts were regulated, and I'm really proud of the way I handled that. But I think I still could have handled it this way, which is I wait for the next time for this to happen. I've talked about this in a few other episodes where I talk about the 3 times rule, which is I allow my partner to mess up, or what I consider messing up, 3 times. Meaning this situation right here. If I said, yes, I will go and do this thing for you, I will be there, and then I show up and they're not there, well, there's one strike. So I could have waited. I could have waited and seen if this person was going to do this again. And then I could have brought it up then. I could have said, hey, well, yeah, I'd be happy to do this for you, but I want to make sure that we communicate a bit better because last time I showed up and we got our wires crossed and something didn't happen. So then I could make sure our communication was a bit better for the next time. And then if it happened again, then I could say something. Do you see how this is kind of working? So in my 3 times rule, what I typically allow something to happen 3 times and then I'll say something. And so this is kind of like using that 3 times rule, except I'm kind of saying a little bit of something in between. So first time happens, I say nothing. He asks me again for a favor. I say, yes, I'm happy to do this favor. And also I need a little bit more details. So let's say then we did a little bit more details and then it happened again. Right? Like I can't even imagine it happening again. But this is what happens because people are fallible. These things will happen. And so in this regards, I could say to them, hey, I feel a little bit frustrated right now because I showed up to an event twice now and it got canceled with no one telling me. I could say that again, right? I could do that. Or again, I could use the 3 times rule. So I could say, well, 1 time was an anomaly. 2 times is becoming a bit of a pattern, but I'll still wait and see. So when the 3rd time comes, if he asks me for a favor again, now I can speak up and I could say, you know what? I love our working relationship. It means a lot to me and I want to be there for you. I want to make sure that we can work together and that our relationship is mutual. That said, the last 2 times I showed up to an event that got canceled and nobody let me know. How can we work together to make sure this doesn't happen again? Because my time is super, super valuable to me and my energy is precious. I mean, especially for me with the type of health issues that I have a lot of times, my energy is basically priceless. I only have so many spoons in a day that I can give to people. And so I need to be able to monitor out my energy in a specific way. But I still want to really be working with this person. And so I could have said it then. Now what I've done is I've allowed this person to have a couple times where they have let me down. And I've let them let me down, basically. And I'm hoping in that 3rd time they come to me and they say something like, oh, yeah, you're right. Let's figure this out. And if they don't, if this person were to talk to me, now this is hypothetical. I don't think this person that I'm speaking of would ever do this to me. But let's say this is like a different person. And they say, oh, you worry too much, Jen. Just show up and it'll work out the way it works out. And I'll be like, let me check in with myself. Let me check in with my body. Does that feel good? Nope, it does not feel good at all. Even right now when I'm thinking about this story, my stomach is churning, my chest is getting a little bit hot, and I'm almost feeling like my throat constrict, right? I can like feel the anger building. And so I think in that moment, I could take a moment, I could take a breath, so long as I'm in a regulated space, and I could say, you know what? This actually does matter to me, and it's important to me. So if we can't come up with a plan to where I'm going to find out if this event is going on or not, then I cannot agree with going or with saying I can show up because that goes against what I need right now. Do you see how this works? So this is how we can be talking to people. Let's turn this around on our partners for right now. Let's say our partners are saying, yeah, I'll do the dishes. And then we show up and the dishes aren't done. Right? Like, frustration. It's so annoying when they do this. And so you're like, okay, 1 off, strike 1, bam. I'm not necessarily saying go do the dishes yourself at all. I'm saying this is a great time for you not to get necessarily frustrated, for just say, hey babes, I noticed the dishes aren't done and you mentioned you would do them. Could you get them done, please? Great. And then you ask them again, hey, can you please do the dishes? And they say, yeah, I'll do the dishes, no problem. Then you wake up in the morning and you see the dirty dishes in the sink and rage is filling your body and you have to get the kids ready for school and you can't even get to the sink to fill up their lunch boxes with the stuff that they need because the dishes from last night are piled on top of them and everything is just reeling in your mind. And so again, you're like, that's not cool. So that's strike 2. So you say to them again, hey babes, this is the 2nd time now I've noticed I've asked you to do the dishes and they're not getting done. Could you please do the dishes tonight? And if they don't get done, I think we might need to have a bigger talk about this. Now, usually in this moment, what's going to happen is I think your partner is probably going to do the dishes because they can kind of hear now in your voice where you're like, yeah, she ain't playing. I'm getting those dishes done. But in a couple weeks' time, when things die down again, he'll go back to not doing the dishes again, right? Who's been there? Raise your hand. Don't raise your hand if you're driving. I want you to be safe. But I want to know who has been dealing with a situation like this. This is something that is so common in nearly every relationship I have ever dealt with. You say a thing, they do it for maybe 1 to 2 weeks, and then it slows down and they stop doing it. We can use our 3 times rule in this as well. If they're doing the dishes for a couple weeks and then they stop doing them, we can now count that still as the 3rd time, and we can sit down and we can have this conversation. Now, again, we want to validate, we want to be loving, and we want to be regulated, and we want to come forward with a connection. But it's okay to be upset by this. That's the rupture. The important part is coming towards your partner to have the repair, so that way you build the resilience. Remember, rupture plus repair equals resilience in a relationship. And that is what we want to be working towards in our relationships. Okay, so that was a lot. And there's a lot to think about here in terms of frustration and communication and how everything works out. But I want you to know, if you have any questions, to please reach out to me in our free Facebook group, or you can reach out to me in my website, speak-honest.com. I have a couple different ways that you can contact me on there. You can also email me at any time. All of this information is in the show notes. You can reach out to me on Instagram, any which way. But I would love to have you on the show right now. Are you listening to this episode and you are thinking about a specific situation where you are pissed off at your partner? Now, you know you love your partner. You know you guys are going to be together forever. But that doesn't negate the feelings that you have, which is frustration over the freaking damn coffee mug never going in the sink. Now, maybe I'm projecting, of course. Well, I'm actually not projecting that because my partner doesn't even drink coffee. I'm probably projecting his frustration onto me. But the best part here is I want to be able to talk to you about this. I want to help you work through this, to give you the words that you need in order to speak up with your partner. Because that's the best way that we are going to heal in our relationships, by learning how to communicate in a loving, compassionate, and connected way. Okay, I will see all of you next week. Take care. As we wrap up today's conversation, always remember that healing is a journey, not a destination. And it is an honor to be a part of your healing journey. If you want to dig deeper into the topics we covered today, be sure to head over to our show notes, where you can find all of the valuable information mentioned in today's episode right there. And please remember to rate, review, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's podcast. Your feedback means the world to us and helps others discover our podcast. Until next time, remember to speak up and speak honest.